going on, my friends? Today I'm showing off a watch that is easily in my list of top 10 favorite watches. It's the Tudor P01, and this mischievously sassy little thing
So sassy
is beautiful. I say little, but there's nothing little about it. It's wide, heavy, a little awkward, and frankly I love everything about it. This is one of those watches when asked why, you respond, well, why the hell not? Keep in mind that I am approaching this watch as a collector and not as a practical man, but even with that being said, I would argue that this watch can serve as a very practical tool watch. Regardless of how you feel about Tudor as a brand, all I can say is that my personal experience has shown me that it is a rock-solid company that makes close to indestructible movements in cases designed to be used and abused, and that is a quality that I respect. So to that end, the P01, while being quirky, is still an undeniably rock-solid watch. This watch, for all intents and purposes, is a Black Bay, so you're gonna get all the bells and whistles of the Black Bay in a package that isn't boring as f***. That means you're getting the phenomenal MT5612 chronometer movement, which translates to 70 hours of superb timekeeping and beautifully tight tolerances on the bezel and crown action. And just like any other Black Bay, there's a sapphire crystal, applied lume, a screw-down crown, a screw-down caseback, and a water resistance of 200 meters. The lume is good, nothing to complain about. It's not super bright, but it has a long run time and it will last the entirety of the night. To be completely honest, I think this more gentle glow is preferred in real-life applications. Even though the MSRP is $4,250, you can easily find these in the gray market for around $3,000 and well under $2,000 in the second-hand market. Everyone's got their own definition of value, but to me that is a steal for a unique watch that shares the same DNA as a Black Bay. The bezel is odd. Great quality, just odd. One would think that a Navy dive watch would incorporate a standard diving bezel, but in this case we have a 12-hour bezel. Personally, I find it useful, and having used the P01 on several business trips, I found it very handy to use the bezel like a GMT bezel and track two separate time zones. Now, whether that was the intended use is a different story. Honestly, I feel like they forgot to update the drawing from the napkin when they first conjured up this weird watch and accidentally left the bezel this way. The bezel locking system is, of course, the signature gimmick here. I use the term gimmick playfully. I think it's actually very cool and executed well. It engages and disengages via a ball bearing, and it does so with purpose. Because the lock is directly connected to the bracelet, if the bracelet is pulled at a certain angle with enough force, you will find that it can pop open unintentionally. However, it takes nothing to pop it back into place, and the bidirectional bezel is held secure by ball bearings as well, so the bezel won't move unintentionally anyways. And for those of you wondering, yes, you can remove the bezel lock and the hood. It is attached to the main case via a pin and collar, but the P01 sort of relies on the lock and hood in order for it to be functionally wearable, so you could somehow jerry-rig it to work, but I don't recommend it unless you're super motivated to just alter the appearance of it completely. I mentioned earlier that it's awkward, and that is directly due to the dimensions. I'll put those up for you on the screen. The diameter and case thickness isn't bad, but the lug-to-lug is going to ruin it for a lot of people, which is a shame. I really hope they revisit the P01 soon, keeping everything proportionately the same and just shrink it down a smidge. Because the way that it is now, the lug-to-lug just doesn't sit right unless you've got a very large wrist. I have a very large wrist, and even I can't seem to find that sweet spot of comfort sometimes. I will say that at least visually it looks great, and most people will be surprised at how natural it looks despite the large lug-to-lug on paper. One thing I am so thankful for is the fact that you can swap out the OEM strap for any 20mm straight end link bracelet. That was my biggest concern getting it, and I think we can all agree that this watch looks so clean with an all steel presentation. Don't get me wrong, the OEM hybrid leather strap is really good. And if that rough, adventurer, Indiana Jones style look appeals to you, then you're really going to like it. And this is a watch that screams adventure. The fully brushed case, bezel and undecorated dial means that you're not once worried about damaging this watch ever. The 4 o'clock crown also adds to that tool-like essence, and the watch itself is so solidly assembled that once you get it in your hands, there is no question that this watch can take a beating. To me, this watch has so much character. I get that it's just a watch and watches don't have personalities. Sure, I completely get that. But saying this watch has character is the only way I can describe why the P01 resonates so much with me. It's a black sheep in your typical basic bitch Swiss luxury lineup, and that puts a smile on my face. And look, I'm the biggest basic bitch out of them all, so I'm not knocking anyone who likes something more conventional. I'm just saying that the P01 is such a far departure from what I'm used to seeing in the best kind of way. So is the P01 for you? That's a question that you will know the answer to immediately. It's either going to be love at first sight, or you're going to try your best not to puke every time you see it. Do I think this is a sleeper watch? In some ways I do. I think this one will eventually develop a small but robust cult following once it is no longer readily available, and I do feel like now is the best time to get one. However, I do not think this is an investment watch. I would only ever recommend this watch to an enthusiast who loves the watch because they love the watch. It's incredibly fun, addictingly funky, and is a breath of fresh air in an otherwise ocean of stuffy luxury watches. I was wearing the P01 on an OD green NATO style strap when I went to the AD to check out the Ranger, and the head salesman stopped what he was doing to take a picture of it and share with his watch group. He thought it was the coolest thing and very much appreciated seeing something different. I thought that was awesome, and real proof that this ugly duckling has an endearing quality that tickles the inner watch addict inside all of us. But that's about all I have to say for now. I hope you enjoyed this episode and perhaps saw or heard some new things about the P01. If this is the first time you're hearing about it, I encourage you to check it out and read up on its history. It's a very interesting watch, and it is, at least for now, a permanent resident in my collection. If you made it this far, thanks so much for watching. A like, comment, and subscribe is always appreciated. Have a great day, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Bye.